Good evening and welcome to Young Climber. We have returned with yet another beautiful story right here in the kingdom of Eswatini, unfolding the movers and the shakers of our beautiful kingdom. And today we talk to the man who holds the pageant reins. It is, of course, Sive Aiden Mawelela, better known as Mr. Eswatini. Sive, welcome to Young Climber.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
I'm very excited to have you. I just want to know how it feels like to be Mr. Eswatini. It's such a big title to carry and a very, very huge responsibility. But before Mr. Eswatini, there was just Sive, without the title. Can you talk about you growing up, your upbringing, wakulelapi, and the values that it instilled in you?
Okay, thank you. Mina Sive Mawelela,
yes.
Before Mr. Eswatini.
Yes.
Yeah, ngakulela Mandambe, well, basically Jericho. That's where I went to school, Jericho Primary School. My mother was a teacher there, so ekhuleni my parents instilled values of respect, hard work, and they taught me in life you need to fight for whatever that you want, no matter the circumstances. Also the importance of education, because she was a teacher, so she found education something very important.
And then, I'd say for high school, you went to Evelyn Bearing, which is like a very popular school, in the Shiselweni region, especially for boys. How was it? It's an all-boys school, right?
No.
The hostel side of it.
The hostel side of
yes.
it. Yeah.
How was it for you being in a school like that? And what are some of the things that you learned during your time at Evelyn Bearing, just for you as, a person,
Okay, so firstly, Evelyn Bearing, like you've just mentioned, could see a boarding school yakona as only boys.
Yeah.
There's one special story about it. Nang Figa 2013, I was the youngest boy at hostel.
Yeah.
And logo gwang sita in terms of independence and all that, because I went to hostel Nang Figa Kona. Also ngafunza ke kutsi, meleng timele. Yeah, it was hard because, suga ekaya, where all parents are there and, vigelegile. Now you're exposed, you need to stand. Kumele go good swati, good see when that in kanjan. So I learned a lot of, the respect that labang funza yon ekaya, buya nayo eskoleni and yang sita ektenini ngekule and ngati bandu, I was able to, get out of that shell, batali bakuvigele, and now you have to show ufunze nekhaya. You have to model that. So logo nyukwale ngakufunza nangifika eBearing. Also when it comes to the academic side, ngafunza, I think at primary kwabane layer the foundation. And then when I got to high school now, I started probing. That's where I got into the science stream. I was so eager to learn more and to understand how things work, basically. Yeah.
And, having been in that stream, like you mentioned, the science stream, what would you have imagined to be doing after high school if you didn't obtain the diploma in secondary education? What was it that you really wanted?
Okay, first I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay. And
then kwashinja, it went to psychology. So basically bengithanza kwati ukuthi bamfu bacabanga njani, not bamfu kuphela ke. When you talk about, I always used to ask myself, kutsi moto na ito mayendiwa yini, So I've always wanted to do things that are going to actually open my mind. Ekutheni ngati ukuthi lana kwendakalani and kwendekela ini. So yeah, that was most of the things that angenda ukuthi ngifuna ukuthi ngathi ngifuna ku.
You were just a curious mind.
Thank you. That's the way.
What extra activities, extracurricular activities were you part of during your university time that helped you, shape and enhance your career? Okay.
I was part of, firstly, extracurricular activities. During our time, because of COVID-19 and all that, but then being joined a debate club and all that, because I wanted to learn more, or maybe public speaking and all that. So also I decided to go play. I'm a soccer player. that I did in college as well. I was part of the first team, goalkeeper with school.
So it just seems like you were very invested, about your physical well-being and also the way that you spoke, which contributes greatly, I think, towards being a Mr. Eswatini. But to also just backtrack, before the glitz and glam of it all, you did also work as a baker and a kitchen assistant, in the past at ShopRite. How did those jobs shape your work ethic and your worldview? Can you just firstly just get us into the story, Gutsi? Wafika njani ekutholeni lo msebenzi?
Okay, so after school, like 2017,
Yes.
the Saspalil, and then I waited for the results, Lebepuma 2018. Well, when I got the results, I had done well at school.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, being cool, I was sick, so I had to take a gap year. So then, gula wam ngasuka ngasheshe ngaphila. Kanzi already sevele kucalile ukuthi now I've taken a gap year, and then I was like, ngizohlala ekhaya ngendeni, let me just test myself, try ngingene la ku field of work and see how things work. Ngahamba ke applied at ShopRite. Ngahamba ngasebenza khona. I started as a bakery assistant.
Yes.
And later I was promoted to being a baker.
Oh,
yes. Okay. And then 4 months, I think it's 4 months later, I then moved to Casino, Nhlangano Casino Royale, worked there as a kitchen assistant. Yes, logo. Yeah, kwangenda mani ngabona umhlaba ngendlela lehlukile because I learned to interact with people of different levels in life, and being able to see okay, basics ngakwati kupheka, ngakwati nekubhaka, ngakhona nekumeet abantu and just get to see different perspectives or maybe perceptions empilo nekuthi bamvu bacabanga kanjani. Lokho bengathi ngakufunza kakhulu in the field of work.
But as I'm listening to you speak, there's a very interesting fact that you told me. You said you forgot how to bake. You basically do not know how to bake now. How did that all happen? Or were you in a place where you were just doing it because, of the circumstances and it was just a matter of, the passion was not there because it seemed like it died immediately after.
Okay, I wouldn't say it was not there.
Yeah.
Because ekhaya ngikhule sibafana sofana, ne? So sikhuliswa ngibaka. So this family ekubhaka, my mother bekathanda kakhulu ukubhaka. And ngakuthanda from there. Then apply vele ShopRite. I was applying to go to the bakery because I wanted to learn more ekubhakeni. And then ngangena. After that, I went to tertiary, ngafundzela maths and science.
Yes.
There was no time to practice or to continue baking and all that. Mhlawumbe ekhaya is that's in a hobby or something.
Yes.
Kwakhanza ukuthi ngiyadisconnecta kancane because now I'm into problem solving, I'm into critical thinking, kubhaka ngakubeka eceleni. After college sengithi ngiyabuyela ngidobuda ukuthi okay kodwa kubhaka.
Maqanza mangaki. Wavele wahluleka.
So ngavela ngathi what ngawubuye ngibuye for now asengime kancane.
But then after college, in July 2023, we see you venturing into the field of modeling, which is when you went to Mr. Eswatini. From being an educator now, the critical thinker, the problem solver, the curious mind, you decided to go into modeling. What inspired you or what motivated you to join the pageant world?
Okay. Njengobuzibuta nje ngiyabona ukuthi kucishe kuvakala ngathi contradiction. See how usuka kanjani ngala uye ngala. But ngathini Tishela is more of a mentor and someone lo ngathini faka knowledge bamfu, ne? So with modeling, specifically Mr. Eswatini, you are given a platform where you stand as a model of good character for the young people. You also are given a platform to actually, you're given a voice basically, and stand for in the country. So one way or the other. So in as much as I
You
in
had
terms
a
of
different
leadership,
approach,
exactly.
yeah.
I looked at it from a different perspective than Bamfu Bonke.
That's a very inspiring one. But now, just the starting point of your journey. Bawukuphi when maybe you open your phone and saw would say, hey, writing my applications are Mr. Eswatini. And had you had any experience in modeling or wavele wayesuka ngathi yatikuthini mina nganqoba le nto ya Mr. Eswatini. How did you manage to put yourself into that?
Okay, ngaqala modeling.
Oh, okay.
I am a model.
Yes.
Yes, but ngesikhathi lesincane. So whilst send modeling, I saw the poster of Mr. Eswatini. I was like, okay, I can do this. Let me just give it a try.
Yeah.
And then I joined Mr. Eswatini, and then I didn't know anything at first. And if I could show you the video, my first entry video, yo, but yeah, then I joined ngasisengiyafunza kaningi lokuningi through that. Yeah.
And during the journey, what characteristics do you feel like you had that made you positive that you would be the next Mr. Eswatini? And what are some that you had to get rid of to make sure that you are the next Mr. Eswatini?
Well, let's see. Okay, kuqala it was just, the characteristics that I felt like I had. There was authenticity and genuine desire to serve. You know, I just wanted to serve my country, serve my young people. That was one of the most. That was one of the biggest characteristics that I had. You know, I can be the next Mr. Eswatini. Well, so there was at that time. It was just me adding more. Yeah.
And the most challenging part about the journey, because I'm sure that there were challenges. It can't be smooth sailing. And now maybe wathi ubhekeceleni wabona lo munye angathi hey mahlombe akaphakeme and you felt a bit intimidated, but what was the most challenging part about your journey?
I think for me the most challenging part of my journey was actually having to keep myself you know. Now you're no longer seen as Sive and J, but people are now seeing you as someone longendeka athathe isigaba lesisetulu. So now you need to carry yourself ngaleyo ndlela, you know. Angeke nje umane umemete noma ngibani njengoba ujwayele. You know, I'm a very loud person. Ngiyatikhulumela, so but I had to just turn that down kancane. Yes.
All right, you know, that's such a beautiful story, and I love that you managed to become the Mr. Eswatini that we'd all love to see. We're going to delve deep into the journey of Mr. Eswatini when we return from the break, and of course, how you are planning or have been serving the Kingdom of Eswatini as Mr. Eswatini, but that is only when we return. Hello and welcome back to Young Climber. If you just tuned in, today we are having a conversation with our very own Mr. Eswatini, and coming to you from the beautiful American Corner in the Manzini Library. It's such a great place for all Emaswati to enjoy. If you want to do your conferences, it is definitely the greatest space and so motivational. The aura here definitely speaks professional, and it definitely, you know, speaks to us as Young Climber because we deal with professional things, Sive. And I want to know how this journey of Mr. Eswatini has helped you as a person grow professionally and personally, because there are some experiences that Mr. Eswatini has led you to that are more professional than you felt the journey would actually be.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, personally, I've grown, my confidence, yeah, and also public speaking skills. You know, I'm now able to speak publicly without fear or favor. Okay. Yeah. So, and then professionally, it has helped me because I've worked with different people, different companies. You know, so I've you know, you can't just do things, there's a way in which you do things in terms of interacting with big people and big companies and all that. Yeah.
And you know, you've also been a part of multiple impactful projects in the kingdom. Can you please enlighten us, Njay, about these projects, just to name a few, and which one has been the most meaningful?
Okay, well, yeah, I've done quite a number of them. I've gone to Mangwaneni Social Center, Satonita Titombo, Sahlanyela Kanye Kanye. I've went to Mkuzweni High School, Culture Day Yabo, and we donated toiletries to Labamfa Beskola, and yeah, I think my name, just to mention, and let me just stick to the two. And then my favorite, bengathi kusemangwaneni, but also kusemkhuzweni, because Mkhuzweni I did my teaching practice there, and yeah, I felt like vele bengibakweleta kubuyela ngiyobavusela, and you know, seeing those kids happy after the donations, I mean, that just touched my heart, because that's what I stand for. I mean, ngifise ukuthi motivate bamfana about the importance of education. So for you to be able to go to class ube right, you need all the timvo letincane letinganakeki. You see, for an example, the toilet bese donator, you know, you can't go to school ungagezi. So that was just so much kwangisinza kakhulu, and I was happy I did it finally. Yeah.
That is definitely meaningful and impactful. You know, you also worked with AHF Eswatini on multiple occasions. Is there any significance in these partnerships, and how was the experience for you with AHF?
It was a beautiful experience. So I was a peer educator. And then from being a PH, before Mr. Eswatini, I was a peer educator there. Got amical Sebendan Manzin Municipal Council. And then Basis by young promoter, from being just a peer educator to being youth mentor. Then that's where I was able to directly work with AHF. And then in some projects, then they would actually include me and partner with me. Jengogu, like, go donate my sanitary pads, and one of the schools at Bombo, they went there with me, and we hosted an international condom day. Kakhulu sasifocus ekuthenini silwane HIV and AIDS, you know, so sisa kumbuta bamfla basha ukuthi, you know, isesekhona, and you just need to protect yourself and utiphathe kahle njengomvlomusha. Yeah.
And I love that you speak very highly, you know, about the youth and youth empowerment. What are some of the biggest challenges that the young people of Eswatini are facing today, and how can we then try and bring solutions bit by bit, of course?
Okay, I think the biggest, one of the biggest challenges, the scenarios in our country, everyone talks about it, youth unemployment. I think we just need to establish youth development projects. We still sit about equipping, you know, skills like entrepreneurship, because I think we are at a time now like funa ukuthi singafunzeli kuyoqashwa, but sifunze ukuthi sati ukuthi singakhona kutiqalela kwethu. You know, we all want, I mean, siyafisa ukuthi kube nema-business eMaswati, and logo kuqala ngathi is the young people. So we need those skills, we need to establish those projects like the schools.
And then for you, are there any upcoming projects or goals that you would like to share, or the public could look forward?
Okay, so since Seguya Ngasekpeleni, my reign, so I have this project that I'm working on, school shoe donation drive. It's an there are these young people from Letikolo and Tisemaphandleni, laba swele ndawuthi tiqatfulo. So ngengathi ngiyabuka njengoba besike sakhuluma nje kuseni ukuthi kumakhata kakhulu these days, so I'm just thinking ukuthi there are kids who are going to school without shoes, and kuyangithinza kakhulu lokho. So one of my final projects would be donating school shoes to about 30 students from 2 different schools.
Yeah.
That's
And you know, as Mr. Eswatini, you've spoken so passionately about giving back to our communities, and I think that Axio Info loyenda ngoba Mr. Eswatini. So after Mr. Eswatini has ended, like your reign is coming to an end, like you said, are there any projects that you would like to continue with in your own personal capacity?
Oh, thank you so much for raising that. Mina ngidawuthi kuba Mr. Eswatini kwamakuphela. because you know timvo lengitenda as Mr. Eswatini akusito timvo lengitendiswa ukuthi Mr. Eswatini njengoba ucetha kusho. So I will continue working with the young people. I will continue kusita la ngakhona kusita khona Mangweni and even the country at large.
Yeah,
that's something ngifisa again.
And during this journey, who has been your greatest inspiration?
That's it. Let me just put them together. It's my family. You know, my mother, my brothers, my sister, Pilil. They've assisted me a lot. They've helped me. Indlela labaphile ngayo bona and labangikhulise ngayo. The values they've instilled give me. Ngiyajabula kakhulu kokuthi namanje so long sayibambe khona. Kuthi noma kulikhuni ngathi kuthi you know they are there to give me the support. They've been supporting me from day one. They are still doing so, and I believe kuthi they'll continue doing so.
That's a very great one. You know, you can always have the support from your family, but you know, there's public perception, and you know, they carry their own pressures and their own opinions. How have you handled the public pressure and the responsibilities and, you know, sometimes comments, it's things online, not everyone agrees that you should have been Mr. Eswatini, but how have you managed to handle all of that?
Well, logo sifunza every day. No one can say so perfect lapho, but for me, I'll say, you know, kuchubeka ngalendlela vele lengangiyo from the first day, my desire to serve and my authenticity and the values instilled ekhaya, hlonipho and nekukhuluma nebamvu ngendlela lefanele. So ngiloko lokhu lengichubeka nako ngikwenda, even though njengoba usho ama challenges abakhona here and there, but if I keep the person that I was nangena khona, the person that labamfakile as Mr. Eswatini, ngichubeka ngiba nguye, ngiloko lokhu ngenda ukuthi ngikhona ukuchubeka noma ngabe ma challenges noma ngabe bamvu bathini. Yes.
And then just lastly, as we wrap up, our very famous question, what advice would you have for young Emaswati who feel, you know, discouraged about their future and maybe are looking to be in the same profession as you?
There's a quote like if you dream it, you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. Yeah.
Alrighty, that's a beautiful ending, and you heard it, Babugila Makaya. That was Sive Aiden Mawelela, our current reigning Mr. Eswatini. Uti, if you can dream it, you can do it. So please just get up and, you know, implement. And who knows, you could be the next Mr. Eswatini. But from us today, thank you so much, Sive, for joining us. You know, it's been such an impactful conversation, and we hope that even after the Mr. Eswatini reign, we'll continue to see more of you, you know, as a giver and a person who is an advocate for the youth.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers at home, you heard it for yourselves. If you can dream it, you can certainly do it. That was it from our Mr. Eswatini, and we hope that he will be a standing person in our communities as an advocate for the youth and continue to empower our youth. But from us, the crew, the team, and myself, Tabelo Dlamini, it is good night and God bless.